her to join.
Connecting now. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I think there might be a little bit of a delay. I don't know why, but
okay.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Thank you.
Perfect. So let's get started. Hello. Thanks again for joining us. And thanks for tuning in to FASHIONbytes chat. And thanks to those who will catch up with this later. It's me, Hillary, founder of FASHIONbytes, a platform to support and nurture creative entrepreneurs. As you know, we usually have live educational panel discussion events talking about running your own fashion business, filling the gap between education and real life. But this is our way to still connect, collaborate, and share. And this evening, we have the wonderful guest, Muchaneta K from Fashion Nerd with us.
Hey everybody,
and
hello.
Please tell us about yourself and Fashion Nerd.
Happy to do so. Hi everybody, thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Muchaneta and I am the founder of fashionable.com, where we translate technology in a fashion voice. We basically want to get you guys excited about using technology with your fashion brands or understanding how you as a consumer can use technology and wearables and so forth. So yes, I guess you could say we're the voice of fashion tech.
Yes, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So let's just dive right in. Now, what are some things that brands can start doing to merge fashion and technology?
I would actually recommend the brands to learn what works best for them.
Okay.
The problem we've had so far with fashion brands adopting technology is that they're adopting technology with no idea really whether it works for them or it works for the consumers that they sell to. So it's super important to learn which technology works for you. Are you more VR? Are you more AR? Would it work front of house or work back of house? Like what works for you? Do you want to be more sustainable? How can you go about doing it? Could you collaborate with a startup and create an app? You know, there's many ways that you can use technology at the moment. But when you don't kind of like invest in it correctly, you end up spending a lot of money and then having a product that you can't shift because nobody wants it.
Right. Can you, because I need this myself, can you define AR, VR, what they are, what the difference is, just in case?
Yes.
Yes.
Most of us are most likely familiar with VR, which has been around for quite a while. It's used a lot by gamers and so forth. And VR is kind of like you enter a world, so you're most likely not going to be yourself. But AR, as I understand it to be, is the merge of the two worlds. And this is something that's been used a lot within the fashion industry. A lot of people have used it for fashion shows, so you are able to kind of look at something, touch it, but you're kind of doing it, you know, as yourself. I think VR is mainly as an avatar, so you're kind of in a world that's been created and you're entering into it. While with AR, the world is actually there. Like beauty makeup, that's a good example because that's been around quite a bit. Do you know when you go on a beauty app and then you try the lipstick on or you try the eyeshadow on? That's AR. That's a really good example because I know that a lot of brands like L'Oreal are using that type of technology to allow their consumers to try on makeup without actually physically having to be in the store.
Oh, wow. That's interesting because I'm wondering how, well, we don't know yet how it's going to work for Fashion Week going digital, but it'll be interesting to see the outcome of that starting tomorrow. What you know, how were they going to do it? Because there's, I saw something where gaming avatars, there's people using that, and that could be interesting for a company.
I mean, there's quite a few companies out there that are offering that type of technology. I think one of them I wrote about recently called Brand Lab, and they do offer brands the idea of be able to create a world that we can all enter as avatars and, you know, and go and see shows and go on stage and all these things, but you're going in as an avatar. And then there's another way of doing it where you can go and see all the press samples and look at an object and the product and be able to turn it around. So it's possible, but in my experience, when I've gone through that, it feels a little bit like it's not quite there yet. You know, it's got a sprinkle of 1984 on it a little. You know, it's not, you know, it's a little, you know, the technology, I feel sometimes, you know, it's getting there, but it's not there yet. But what's great about it is that it's showing you the possibility of where we can go with this type of technology.
Right. What brands are leading in the fashion tech space at the moment? Who could we look to?
I would say startups are leading the way, and the established traditional brands are following. Because they are learning from these brands how they can use technology. They're the ones that are coming up with the tech, most of these startups. So a lot of people that I know, I wrote about, loads of startups, they are collaborating with big brands, and they are working together so they can understand how they can then adopt this technology and use it to their advantage. So I would look at startup brands as, you know, for inspiration. But if you kind of want to see what traditional brands are doing, look at LVMH. They are always about trying to get their maisons adopting technology. If you look at, what's the other one with Tommy Hilfiger, they also always adopting technology. But I think my problem is that it comes across sometimes like it's done for column inches as opposed to actually investing in technology.
Right.
But I think that is something that is becoming less so, because I think the industry is realizing that the main goal is sustainability, and the only way you can really reach that is by adopting technology so you can reach those sustainable goals.
Okay, well, let's dive into sustainability as always. How can we work towards a more sustainable existence, really, and will it help transparency with supply chain? And I've read something about linking cryptocurrency somewhere in there as well. So please share with us.
Of course. I mean, transparency is the key goal here. And it's kind of like a hard thing for the industry to adopt, because fashion industry is known for its secrecy. We don't tell people what we're up to. We don't let them know our secrets. So to then say to them, hey guys, you know, you've been like secretive for the last few decades. Now tell us your secrets. What's in your materials? What factories are you using? Are they ethical? You know, all these things. It will take time, you know, but there are a few brands out there that are leading the way with this. They, you know, if you look at Zalando, they just literally announced that by, I think by 20, was it 20? I can't remember the exact year, but they said that they're not going to work with brands that are not going to be transparent. So I feel like imagine ASOS saying that, imagine Net-a-Porter, you know, imagine them saying something like that. Wouldn't that kind of kick you up the butt and be like, yeah, I need to get my stuff sorted, right?
Exactly.
So it kind of starts with that. It starts with big brands taking that step and saying, we will want you to kind of, you know, tick these boxes before we work with you. Because at the moment, most of the stuff when it comes to sustainability is done by the brands themselves. So we don't, as consumers, we have no idea exactly what they're up to and what they're doing. We don't understand it, you know. So it makes sense to then turn to technology, because technology can help them be a bit more sustainable. We can look at different types of fabrics and materials that are being developed currently that are more kind of earth friendly, and things like that. And also manufacturing and the supply chain, how can we make that more sustainable? I do feel like certain things that have happened to us globally are making people think a little bit more, and they're kind of being pushed and forced to think about being more sustainable and to look at technology as one of the options to help them adopt sustainability.
Okay. Now, let's look at fabrics and textiles specifically. We've had a question come in. Do you think nanotech fabrics will become more mainstream?
I think they will. I mean, I wrote about them like 5 years ago. And the thing is, I think that the market's not ready for it yet. I feel like it's a big hop and a skip to something that consumers don't even understand yet. But it is definitely going to happen in the future. What we need is education. People need to understand what that is in the first place, and then they can understand how it helps them. And I think that's been the problem with wearable technology in general. You bring these fabulous devices and they say, wear them, but what do they do?
So explain to us more about what nanotech fabric is. So,
well, nanotech, yes, I'm happy to do so. Well, nanotech fabric is very different from, let's say, it's like a step up from the fabric that was being used, let's say, 5-7 years ago, when people would actually attach technology to a fabric and say it does this and it does that. Now imagine technology being kind of more intertwined within the fabric, into the material, and that's kind of where we want to go, because a lot of the wearables that we were wearing, the t-shirts with the batteries attached, that was a massive put off for consumers, because you're like, okay, I'll wear that, but then what's the point of it? So then in comes this different type of technology where we can actually intertwine it into our fabric, and imagine being able to wear that and it has no battery on it. And that's where we are headed. But are we ready for that yet? I really don't think so yet. I think that we can't be ready for something we don't understand. But my whole goal with Fashionette is to make people realize what is nanotech, how will it work, how will it improve their life, and is it something they really need? And the answer to that is yes, because nanotechnology has been used in various fields, such as the sports industry, medical already. The fashion industry is slow to adopt it because I feel like they haven't got the money for the R&D. They have no idea how they're going to, how can they invest in technology when they say they don't have the money, and most of the money is normally in marketing budgets and so forth and so forth. So I think that the fashion industry needs to change how it thinks. It needs to think a lot more like the sports industry, invest in our future, invest in new materials. Yes, we've got a problem with our materials, but how can we overcome that if you're not investing in finding new materials?
Right.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, so I was just going to say, so I think that's where it begins, and it's a really hard thing to convince the industry of that. But I do believe that the more, I'm going to sound terrible, but like the graduates, the new generation of designers, they will be educated about things like nanotechnology, things like how they can use technology to be sustainable, things like VR, AR. It's going to be natural to them. So when they do apply it to their work, it's going to be something that, that pushes us forward rather than hold us back. Right.
But do you think a lot of the problem currently is cost?
Cost is a massive factor. It's very expensive to create fashion tech products. It simply is. I mean, I own a few pieces, and I must say, you're paying top dollar for these pieces of clothing. Or I've got a pair of, of like leggings that teach me yoga, and I've got like watches that are all smart watches and so forth. So they're very expensive. But just like the first mobile phone, most of us could not afford that at the beginning because it was just too costly. But now look at us. Even a 5-year-old has a phone these days. The more people invest in a product, the more likely it will become more cost effective, and they can manufacture it at a much more cheaper rate, and therefore we can all afford it. So that's why I'm always thinking, like, we're at the beginning stages now. Don't look at the price, look at the potential. Look at it and say to yourself, what is the potential of this product? What can it bring to my life? How can it make me feel better and be better?
And invest in the future.
Invest in the future. But the only problem right now, and I've written about this, is that most of the brands that have come up with wonderful products, unfortunately, then go out of business. And when they go out of business, your product becomes null and void because it's not getting any updates and so forth. So that's the big disadvantage I've heard from some customers that have bought wearable technology. We need more people to kind of invest in it. Or otherwise, a brand, if it's not making enough money and it goes bust, you're stuck with a kind of a product that just sits in your drawer, really, and is something that you invested in, but is worth nothing.
But that's why collaboration is so important. Because if
collaboration is key. It's key within the fashion industry, whether it's a traditional brand collaborating with a startup or a startup collaborating with a tech company. I feel like the fashion industry is going to be more than fashion. We're going to have scientists playing role, engineers playing role. We need to collaborate with them. We need to learn to speak the same language. When you look at, let's say, clothes that are made out of electronics, let them talk to the washing machine makers. Let them have a discussion about how can I wash this fabulous garment but not destroy it with your washing machines, and let them think about it, because they're the ones that engineered it in the first place. So it is all about collaboration. And if you look at Stella McCartney, when she collaborated with Bold Threads, they are scientists, you know. Fashion to them, it means absolutely nothing to a degree. But then they worked with somebody who knows fashion, who speaks the language of fashion. And then she's working with somebody who speaks the language of technology and engineering and so forth. And together they came across this amazing dress that they made using like spider silk. So it is about collaboration. It's about being able to come together and making something work.
Oh, wow. And still on the subject of fabrics, with the current situation, what about a fabric that's antibacterial? Is there such a thing, or?
There is already such a thing. I'm quite happy to tell you that. There's a brand out there, let me think what the name is. I always write about them. They came up with athleisure, like athletic wear that you can put on, and it is antibacterial. It kind of helps with your skin and moisturizes it, and so forth. Pirates, that's it, Pirates. So it's Pyrates. I think they hail out of Spain, but I think their company's in France. But they came up with this fabulous collection, and it's all about the material and about your skin and it looking after you. So beyond keeping you from being nude, it also looks after your skin as well. And I think that's great, you know.
No, that sounds amazing, but I'm thinking how long does it last, especially with washing and, you know, taking care of it?
Regina, who's the founder, has told me that it's been manufactured to last quite a while. So I think it's not too much of a worry. And I know that they collaborate a lot with brands to help with this material. This material is their own, so they've kind of come up with it, and to actually work with brands to kind of create collections using this fabric. And to me, that is such an amazing. Imagine wearing a t-shirt, you have to worry about sweat patches. A white t-shirt, they don't have to worry about.
Yes, please.
You know,
yes,
isn't that like a positive thing? You know, imagine wearing, you know, us, we need to moisturize. So imagine wearing a t-shirt that you will kind of keep your skin nice and supple, antibacterial, all these things. You know, I think that is the things that consumers want. The thing about technology and people that make tech products, they create products that they think we want, not really looking at what we need. And a product like this by Pirates, to me, is what we need. You know, you want to wear a tech product that doesn't feel like you're a Robocop. You want to wear a tech product that would look exactly like this dress, but it has maybe, it's giving me haptic feedback, or it's, you know, it's got something going on, but you can't see it because it looks like a normal dress. Right. And I think consumers at the moment, they don't want to look like, to them, they have this robotic idea of fashion tech. I mean, it doesn't have to be like that at all.
Okay. No, that sounds really good. I need to look up this company myself.
You should. They're doing such great stuff.
Thank you. We had a couple of questions sent in from David.
Hello,
and
David.
I wanted to go through that. The first one was about brands and manufacturers focusing on technology features. Do they think that that's what consumers actually want? Why can't technology be about production process? What would you, I think you've touched on that, but.
I have, yes. I mean, technology is about both, I think. And I do believe that when brands focus on technology, they are thinking that's what the consumer wants. They want to remain competitive and look future forward. They want to come across that way. So they will invest in certain tech things, thinking that, oh, if I do this, my consumers will be loving it, or I'll get a new customer base with the millennials who are all about tech and all about this kind of having technology at their fingertips. So for them, it is all about that. But in terms of like production, there is a lot going on in the back end of the fashion industry. A lot of manufacturers are investing in technology and are looking at how can we make things happen on demand, like creating on demand. If you look at Unmade, that's a good example of who are kind of changing the whole entire production process for the fashion industry, about creating a way for us to produce what we need and not end up with so much product that we can't sell. Instead of predicting what we think customers want, they are helping brands being able to create products that are actually going to sell rather than something that we're kind of guessing. You know, the industry guesses, oh, this, the collection is going to be this and people are going to love it. But there's no guarantee that we're going to love it. You know, so it's kind of a risk of ordering thousands and thousands of a product that you're not sure it's going to sell. So Unmade is helping brands not do that. helping brands rethink, rewire how they kind of produce their clothes and their products and whatnot. So it's also happening both. But with regards to brands and consumers, I think that, you know, most brands want to be feature forward, and sometimes they hit, sometimes it's a miss. I think it just really depends on who their target consumers are.
But it with the description you gave of unmade, I think that's super important going forward, given the fact that we haven't been able to shop as much.
Yes.
Shop online, yes, but still there's going to be loads of garments on just sitting somewhere. And, you know, we have to look at how we deal with that going forward.
I mean, we need to change our business model. The fashion industry's business model has been long overdue for a change. It needs to be updated. It needs to work. It doesn't work anymore. And the great thing is that they've given birth now to the conscious consumer, people that are interested in what's going on. They ask questions, they educate themselves. You know, the generation before, we weren't really bothered where our clothes were coming from. It wasn't in our face. It was so far away. It wasn't, you know, something that we thought too much about. But now I think that people are changing their point of views. When they buy a t-shirt, they want to know how it's made, what materials were used, was it done ethically, where was it made exactly? You know, we're talking about bringing production closer to home now, so therefore we are not kind of traveling, things are not traveling like 4 different places before it arrives to where it's being sold. So I think that it's slowly changing. But as consumers, need to put that pressure on.
Exactly. And again, consumers have the power. As I say,
I think they didn't. I think they did. They thought they didn't, but they do. I agree with you completely.
Without consumers, there's no business. Literally. It's really that simple.
Yeah. It's so simple, but it's quite weird that we don't get that. We didn't get that.
Yeah.
We felt like we had to buy. No, you don't.
No, we need to slow it right down. And I think technology will help us with the sustainability models and slow fashion. I mean, I remember when I was younger, many moons ago, when you saw something, you save for it. And there was joy in saving for something that you've seen in a magazine or on a catwalk. And that's amazing. And when you spend on the quality, it lasts for a long time. I have things.
And also you look after your clothes.
Yes.
We have lost respect for our garments. How we treat our garments, as we've just, I'll just buy another one. It's got a hole in it, I'll just buy another one. But like you said, when we were younger, you'd save up for that. Your little sister would touch that jacket, you want a backhander, like, it's my jacket. You know, like you saved like months pocket money babysitting for it. So,
exactly.
You know, we had that kind of respect and enjoyment of our clothes, but because of the fast fashion model, like you can buy so quickly. We bought £2 for it. Okay, then I'll go and buy another one tomorrow. And we need to change our mindset. And I think that we are doing so slowly, but surely.
We need to get there. The second question from David, haptics. I don't know anything about haptic.
You probably do have it. You probably used it. You're just completely unaware. And I'll tell you how you probably have used it. Do you own a smartwatch?
No.
Okay. Let's say that you did. You know, when you wear your smartwatch, sometimes it will tell you, sometimes your phone does the same thing, but I'll use a smartwatch as an example. It tells you to stand up and walk around. When you sit down that is haptic feedback.
Okay.
That's, you know, okay, I best get up and stand and walk around and stuff. Okay, it's the kind of technology that's mainly been used by gamers, but in terms of using it in fashion, it's already here. It's just very subtle, I guess you could say. If you don't know what it is, you just think your phone's buzzing you or your watch is buzzing you. You don't even think about it too much. But that is giving you kind of feedback of like, okay, then you've sat down too long now, get up and walk. Another example is Nadi X leggings. I don't know if you've heard of them. They are yoga pants that were created by Wearable X, and they're haptic feedback. And they're the ones that teach you put them on and you do all the yoga positions. And if you're doing something incorrectly, it lets you know. So it basically teaches you yoga to a degree. That is haptic feedback. So it's there. It's just not taken off the way, I guess, people would have thought. I think there wasn't enough good use cases for people to be like, it works, it's great, let's do it. You know, like
Right.
It's just not there. And I think with technology like that, it takes time. Some things will happen very quickly and be adopted quickly, and other things will just take time. Also, you've got to look at it like, is this something that's coming out at the right time? Are people ready for this? Do people want it? You know, I mean, my watch tells me to stand up, but do I stand up? No. But,
No.
you know, but, you know, it's kind of like, you got to look at it that way. Like, is it useful right now? And the chances are most people probably don't even know they've got a product with it. So, you know,
So
it's
almost like you need to get the word out. There needs to be more marketing on it.
They do, but it's not even about marketing though. It's like people are always wonder, like, do I need that though? Do I need that? Do I need to know my heartbeat? You know, like when you have like your phone or your watch telling you things like that. Like, haptic feedback's great, and if you look at it also from a medical perspective or from a gaming perspective, it's great. But the thing is, do you need it? The everyday consumer, the everyday Joe that you meet on the bus, is it something at the moment that will give them benefits? Probably not. But will it be beneficial in the future? For sure. It's great. I mean, if you love technology, it's great. For an early adopter, it's amazing. But for the average Joe, just not yet.
We do have a comment from Natasha. Perhaps
Hey,
with staying and working from home, we'll be ready for the technology to help us do yoga better or stand up from your desk. Because Natasha has a point. Thank you, Helen. Even for myself, I sit a lot more than normal. I mean, there's a lot of screen time. And
I think if you're working from home, you probably sit longer than you would at a desk at the office.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, oh, I'll go and do a Starbucks run. Oh, it's lunchtime already. Oh, you know, you're up and you're walking up, right?
Oh,
but like
and
home,
many cups of tea during the day.
Indeed, yes. And you can sit there and be like, oh, it's 5 o'clock already. I didn't even realize this. So I think what you're saying, Natasha, is right. In terms of this type of technology, it will definitely help when you're at home. It'll help you, I guess, look after yourself. Because that's what wearable technology is all about in general anyway. It's about helping us be our better selves. Helping us, telling us, like, imagine having technology that says, have you drunk enough water today? Or saying to you, you've had your level of sugar now, maybe you should have no more, or salt, or whatever it is. You know, my whole thing about wearables and why I always champion them is because they are there. It's a tool to look after us, to make us a more healthier person. And they're even looking at using wearables because of this COVID-19 situation, you know, like temperature taking. Can you imagine it telling you, like, you got high temperature, or kind of giving you kind of a bit more feedback about what your body's doing and so forth? You know, I mean, there's so much potential. It's just the matter of somebody actually coming up with a product that people want and therefore creating a successful use case.
Yes. Very, very, very good point. Oh, wow. That went quickly.
It sure did. I just looked at my phone and I was like, oh, already.
Wow, super quick. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure completely.
Wonderful. Thanks for tuning in. I know there are people watching it later on. Stay tuned for our next guest next week. Follow us again next week. We have Victor Alvarez. He's a fashion designer at Dewhurst, one of the largest garment manufacturers in the world. So we'll be interested to know what they're going to do going forward. But again, thank you for watching. Thank you, Muchaneta, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Until next time. Bye.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Natasha, for your comments. Seeing them all on there. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.